Shalom, 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 my brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another end of the week Sabbath class. I'm your brother Ananias.
Brother Ezekiel.
We are A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. And as always, it's an honor and privilege to come before you each and every week that we have the opportunity to do so, to give you another uplifting and edifying lesson. So we say welcome to you all. Happy Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome. Remember to take notes, follow along. But nonetheless, we want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being his Son, who the world calls Christ in the Paleo Hebrew. So through his strength, sacrifice, and example, we are all able to be here today, to be uplifted and edified in the spirit, And it's an honor, it's a privilege, as always, like we said before, to be able to come before you, brothers and sisters. And we want to make sure that our brothers and sisters in these last days get these lessons in, get these messages, get it dialed into your mind, because we're going to need it as we continue to progress as a nation of people, as we continue to wake up and lead one another and teach one another. We have to have these things embedded in our minds. And this is why we do what we do each and every week. And one of the things I always say each and every week, or that we talk about each and every week, is to remember to not only pray for your household, but to pray for your nation of people. The 12 tribes of Israel who have been scattered worldwide, we need to remember to pray for our brothers and sisters. We don't know what each other are going through, hardships, hard times, confusion, and heaviness of heart. Hey, we must continue to pray for our brothers and sisters. Pray that the Lord helps and heals our brothers and sisters, help strengthen them in a time of need. We are going through it. So we must remember to pray for one another. The difficult times that we go through, the thoughts that plague our minds, the wickedness of this world, the vexation of conversation, the spirit, you know what I'm saying? Remember to pray for your nation of people, and continue to do what's needed by praying to the Most High each and every day as well. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, today's class is going to be taught by the mighty brother Ezekiel. So I'm going to pass it off to you, King, and let you lead the way.
All right, thank you, brother. Shalom, shalom. Thanks everybody for joining the class on this Sabbath. And like the brother said, we got to remember to pray for our brothers and sisters, because a lot of our brothers and sisters are still lost and they don't even know to pray for themselves. So we have to pray for them as well, so that we can become, like the scriptures say, that exceedingly great army what the Most High intended for us to be. So
That's
we
right.
have to remember that. But tonight's class is going to be called its title, "The Power of the Tongue." You know, I don't know if people realize it or not, but the tongue is one of the most powerful parts of the human body. Why? Uh, it can be used to tear down. It can be used to build up. You know, it can be used to bring life or destruction. So it is important to think before we speak. Have to remember that it's important to think before we speak. So with that being said, started off with Proverbs chapter 18, verse 20 through 21.
All praise. All right. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 20. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled.
See that? A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruits of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. So again, going to that, death and life is in the power of the tongue. Example of that is if a person is suicidal, uh, person suicidal, and they on the ledge about to jump, you know, you can try to talk them off the ledge, tell them, hey man, maybe it's not as bad as you think it is. You can work it out. There's a better way. Or you can be that type of brother to go ahead and tell them, well, maybe you're right. Maybe uh, life is not worth living. Maybe it'll be better that way if you go ahead and kill yourself. And and a person with a person in that kind of predicament, and you give them that type of bad advice, they might go ahead and take your advice, take themselves out by what's coming out of your mouth,
Right.
and you can be held responsible for that. You should know not to speak those words to a person in that kind of situation. Uh, Another example is, say a person goes to the doctor on their checkup. The doctor sees something, illness or something within that person, and instead of him telling them uh, that what the illness really is, they brush it off like it's not as bad as it really is. Tell them it'll go away soon. Just wait it out. But really, this person might have some type of stage 3, stage 4 cancer. But as a doctor, you done misled them with your tongue, you know, and that goes on a lot of times with our black people going to these doctors these days. You know, uh, against black people, not just black people, all the Israelites around the world, we don't get that kind of top health care that other nations get. We die quicker than any other nation. Why? It's not that it's not all the time that we're not uh eating right or taking care of ourselves. It's a bunch of health disparities in these doctors, in these doctor offices. We don't always get the true uh diagnosis of what's going on in our bodies. And we take everything they say. They tell us something, we believe them. We're being by the time by these physicians. So we have to be mindful of that. Sometimes they give us false information that could potentially cost us our lives,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's by a lot of times it's by design. So we have to remember that. Uh but let's get uh
Verse 21.
yes, go ahead. I thought you
All right.
brought it.
This is Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof.
You see that? They that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Death and life, like I said earlier, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Like I said, it can build you up, it can tear you down. There's a little bitty small organ in your that we have. Probably one smaller organ we have, but it's very powerful. Very powerful. Let's get the book of Proverbs chapter 12, verse 13. Proverbs 12, 13, and 14.
All right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 14. You said 12, right?
12,
Proverbs.
verse 13 and 14.
It's a lot. Book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 13. And it reads, the wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. It's like a
Yeah.
man should be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hand shall be rendered unto him.
Should read 14 one more time. Well, read 13. The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips. See that the wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. So again, you have to be careful what comes out of your mouth. Like I said, the wicked is snared. Wicked. You speaking reckless with your mouth, you're gonna come into problems. It says a man shall be satisfied with good by the fruits of his mouth. You will be satisfied with good. That's what we all looking for. We don't want, like I said, we don't want no problem. A man shall be satisfied with good by the fruits of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hand shall be rendered unto him. Meaning, whatever you do, it's a payment coming back for you. You will be punished by what comes out of your mouth. There's a recompense. Uh, uh, let's get that first video what I sent you. This is a prime example of that. I know a lot of people have seen this before, but before you play it, this messenger came into this kingdom, very prideful. Him and two or three of his men came to this kingdom, talking reckless, prideful, and let's see what happened. Using his tongue got him in trouble. Let's play it.
What message do you bring?
Earth and water.
You rode all the way from Persia for earth and water.
Do not be coy or stupid, Persian. You can afford neither in Sparta.
What makes this woman think she can speak among men?
Because only Spartan women give birth to real men.
Let us walk to cool our tongues.
If you value your lives over your complete annihilation, listen carefully, Leonidas. Xerxes conquers and controls everything he rests his eyes upon. He leads an army so massive it shakes the ground with its march, so vast it drinks the rivers dry. All the god King Xerxes requires is this: a simple offering of earth and water, a token of Sparta's submission to the will of Xerxes.
Me to another king.
Submission. Now that's a bit of a problem. See, rumor has it the Athenians have already turned you down. And if those philosophers and boy lovers have found that kind of nerve, then...
We must be diplomatic.
And of course, Spartans have their reputation to consider.
Choose your next words carefully, Leonidas.
Pause.
They may be your last as king.
You see that? See how arrogant he is? See how regular his tongue is talking when he's surrounded by his enemies? So choose his words wisely. It might be his last. Play.
And water.
Madman! You're a madman!
Earth and water. But you'll find plenty of both down there.
No man, Persian or Greek, no man threatens a messenger.
You bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. Oh, I've chosen my words carefully, Persian. Perhaps you should have done the same.
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!
And just like that, that man's tongue got him in a lot of trouble that quick. Read 12 and 13 again.
All right.
Proverbs 12 verse 13. Read that again.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 13. And it reads, "The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble."
See that transgression of his lips got him in trouble right then.
Damned up.
Yeah. So we have to, like I said, have to be careful, be mindful of what comes out of your mouth. Uh, let's get Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. But before you do that, right before that video started, he came through with the skulls of previous kings, dead kings. He holding them up as he rode in on his horse, being very prideful and it's reckless. But go ahead and get Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 29.
All right. The book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 29. "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers."
Right. So that's what we want to do. We don't want any negative thing coming out our from our mouth. We want to speak things that can help people. It said, but that which is good to the use of edifying. We should be trying to increase people's knowledge with what comes out of our mouth. You know, that it may be what it said that it may minister grace unto the hearers. What good is with speaking anything other than good be to our people?
Right.
You know, it's up to us to get this word out to them. So we have to be mindful of what we say. Lead our people in the right way. 'Cause we don't want to be like they said. The pastor lean the sheep to the slaughter. That's not
Right.
what that's not what we're trying to do. So we don't want to lead our people to the slaughter. We're trying to help save our people. Trying to help save our people. Uh, we're gonna go from there. We're gonna do a little reading on this next one. We're gonna go to uh, the book of First Kings, chapter 21, and we're gonna read verse 1 all the way through 29. So we're gonna see how this woman can use her tongue to cause some corruption. Book of First Kings, chapter 21, verse 1 through 29.
All right. This is the book of First Kings, chapter 21, verse 1. "And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria.
Read so no Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, right? So read verse 2.
And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money.
So Ahab want this vineyard from Naboth. He said he gonna he'll give you one better than it, or he'll pay for it. Read.
And Naboth said unto Ahab, the Lord forbid it me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee.
Right. So he's not supposed to give the inheritance of his fathers unto uh, Ahab, because it has been forbidden by the Most High. Read.
All right, verse 4. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would not eat bread.
So he mad. He don't even want to eat. He done turned his face away. He laying down. Don't want to eat. All right, let's get verse 5.
Hey, and just to go along with that, this is a king, you know what I'm saying, of our people at this time, a weak brother who asked the man to sell him his land. He wouldn't sell it to him, so he came home pouting and jumped in the bed and turned his face to the wall and wouldn't eat.
Right. Pound like a kid.
Right. Verse 5. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread?
So she want to know why is he not want to eat. Read.
And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard.
Right. He's not going to give it up. It's forbidden for him to give it up by the Most High. Read.
And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, doest thou not govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite.
Right. So she telling him, does thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Hey, you the king. Pumping him up, pumping his head up. Read verse 8.
So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. She wrote in the letter saying, proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people.
So she writing saying she said she writing letters and setting Naboth on high among the people, proclaiming a fast and setting Naboth on high of the people. Read.
And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die.
You see that? So these 2 men then lied on him, saying he done blasphemed God and the king, and carry him out and stone him that he may die. They done lied on this man. Power of the tongue got this man killed. But read.
Verse 11. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto him, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them.
Read.
I just want to make mention of that as well. I think you just said something close to it. Those were the elders of the city, and they knew that what she had wrote was wicked as hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But they went right along with it. So these were the ones who was leading the people, setting the example. They were right along with her wicked plan, knowing that man ain't did nothing, but they was in agreement on one accord to set him up to have him put to death. All right,
Right.
verse 12. They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him, and the men of Belial witnessed against him. even against Naboth in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. Salak.
You see that? Lied on this man. He didn't want to sell his vineyard. They lied on him, get him stoned, get him out of the picture, just so Ahab can take control of that vineyard. You know, wickedness of the tongue. Read 14.
All right. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead.
See that? Well, dead now. You can go ahead and seize it. It's yours now. Verse 16.
And it came to pass when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it.
He went and got possession of the vineyard. Read.
And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying,
Okay.
And it came to pass when, verse 18, Salak. Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, in the place where
Thus saith the Lord, read.
In the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine.
See that? So where they lick the blood of Naboth, they gonna lick your blood, read.
And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord.
Read.
Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel.
Read.
And will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin.
So he had provoked anger to the Most High with that move where he pulled against Napa. Read.
And Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel.
See that? So the Lord saying what's gonna happen to Jezebel, said the dog shall eat her by the walls of Jerusalem. Read.
All right. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up.
See that? With her wicked tongue stirred that up. Verse 26.
And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things that he did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass when Ahab heard those words that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his flesh and fasted and lay in sackcloth and went softly.
So he done got spooked now. He trying
and
to
the
make.
word of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house.
See that? So he spared Ahab, but for what he did, he put evil on his sons. And that still goes on to this day. Don't think you completely got away with something because ain't no harm came to you. The Most High will put some on your kids because of what you did. Have to remember that. But now let's jump down to 2 Kings. We're gonna read uh, verse 9, verse chapter 9, verse 30 through 37. Chapter 9, verse 30 through 37. And we see this with Ahab. So now let's find out about what was prophesied to happen to Jezebel.
All right. This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 9, verse 30. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tied her head. It's like, and looked out at a window.
Read.
And as Jehu entered into the gate, entered in at the gate, she said, had Zimri peace, who slew his master? And he lifted up his face to the window and said, who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs.
Read.
And he said, throw her down. So they
Her,
threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and he trod her underfoot.
see that? So they threw her down, right? And it said he trod her on the foot. Read 34.
And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, go, see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull, and the feet, and the palms of her hand.
See that? So she had been eaten, just like the prophecy had said. That's why they call her a cursed woman. She had been cursed from what she had did earlier in the scripture we read before. 36.
Wherefore they came again and told him, and he said, this is the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel.
See that? It was prophesied that this was going to happen. Why? Because of what she enticed her husband to do, using her tongue for wickedness. Get 37.
And the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the faces of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, this is Jezebel.
Right. So I just brought this out again to show how powerful the tongue can be and how the tongue can get you in trouble, as it did Jezebel and as it did Ahab. But like the scriptures say, the Most High spared him, but still put the punishment on his son. You know,
Right.
so, like I've been saying, we have to be very careful. Use our tongues wisely. Use it to do good. Use your tongue to do good, not do evil. To uplift, not to bring down. To give wisdom, not to dumb down. But from now, let's get the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 12 and 13.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 12 and 13. What man is he that desireth life and loveth many days, that he may see good? Keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile.
Keep your tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. And that's what Ahab and Jezebel didn't do. And that's why the Most High brought evil upon his sons, because of the actions they took. He,
Right.
you know.
Can
And
I add on to that?
yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, just going back to 12, it said, what man is he that desireth life and loveth many days that he may see good? That was a question being asked right there. Which one of us, these are the things that we have to examine ourselves with. If we want to live life, if we want to live a prolonged life and a good life, how do we do so? By doing what 13 say. That's part of it. Keeping these commandments. But keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. Speaking evil, hatred against your brothers and sisters, speaking guile, trickery, trying to bewitch somebody, trying to manipulate somebody, control, these are the things that we have to consider and know what we're doing if we're trying to live a longer life, or we trying to teach others how to live a prolonged life. If we desire life truly, Verse 14 said, depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. Ain't talking about what Esau present to you to be peace. Just sitting on the beach where you ain't hearing no sign, you ain't got to punch the clock. That ain't what peace is. Because as soon as that vacation over with, you back in the plantation. But the Lord is telling you on a larger scale, depart from evil, breaking these commandments, following the message that's in these songs that you listen to, following the things that you see on social media, following the things that you see in these movies, these wicked things that speak to you through imagery, through music. Depart from that evil and do good, meaning open this book and read it. Open the Bible and read it. Read your heritage. Read the precepts. Read the oracles of God. Seek them and pursue them. That's how you live a long, prolonged life. That's what he tells you in Proverbs 7:2. Keep my commandments and live.
Right.
When you keep the commandments, guess what you're doing? You're departing from evil. And you're doing good. And you're doing the things that are pleasing in the eyes of the Lord. So pursue that. But it's on you, King.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, brothers. But okay, let's go to Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 16.
All right. The book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord.
And a talebearer is basically going out spreading rumors or deceit. And that's what the men of Belial did to Naboth. Went out there spread rumors on him, lies, deceit, so much as to have him stoned. All because Ahab wanted his land, wanted his vineyard.
Right.
So we have to be mindful not to act in that type of manner. Because whether it come to you, your family back after you, or whether it comes to you in a short term or long term, it will be eventually a price to pay for
That's
acting.
right.
So we have to remember that. Now, a lot of us have kids, and while it's okay to discipline your kids or whatever, we have to be this going into still on the power of the tongue, but moving on from that. But, like I said, a lot of us have kids, and it's okay to discipline your kids, but it's not okay to verbally abuse them. Uh, it has lasting effects a lot of people tend to verbally abuse not only their kids but other kids too. So uh, let's watch that video what I sent you on it. It was a short video.
Physical harm often comes to mind first. But what about the words we use?
From again,
Use of children often flies under the radar.
Say that again.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
All right.
When we think of abuse, physical harm often comes to mind first. But what about the words we use? Verbal abuse of children often flies under the radar, yet its impact can be just as damaging, if not more so, than physical abuse. Verbal abuse is not just about yelling or screaming at a child. It can be much more subtle and insidious. It can involve ignoring a child when they try to share something important, dismissing their ideas with contempt, gaslighting them to question their own reality, or constantly criticizing their every move. These actions send a message that the child doesn't matter, that their thoughts and feelings aren't valued. But what happens to a child who grows up hearing these messages? Research shows that verbal abuse can have profound long-term effects on a child's emotional development. Children subjected to such treatment may develop deep-seated self-criticism, constantly doubting their worth and abilities. They may struggle with low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, and even difficulty forming healthy relationships later in life. One of the most alarming findings is that the negative effects of verbal abuse can be stronger than the positive effects of a parent's love. This means that even if a parent shows affection, the damage caused by verbal abuse can still have a lasting impact. So, what can we do to protect our children from these harmful effects? The first step is awareness, understanding that words have power. Parents, caregivers, and teachers need to be mindful of how they communicate with children. Positive communication, encouragement, and active listening are key to helping children feel valued and secure. Remember, our words can either build a child up or tear them down. By choosing kindness and understanding, we can help children grow into confident, resilient adults. Subscribe Parents Guide.
See that? So again, have to watch out for the verbal abuse. And in this video, we learned that one, verbal abuse can be worse than physical abuse. Verbal abuse can be worse than physical abuse. We also found out that verbal abuse can involve not only what comes out of your mouth, but constantly ignoring a child as well. And a lot of time, the children needs our undivided attention. I mean, we pretty much knew that constantly criticizing them sends a message that the child doesn't matter, and it can cause low self-esteem. And also, one that caught my attention when it said verbal abuse can be stronger than the positive effects of a parent's love.
Hmm.
Verbal abuse can be, I mean, it said verbal abuse can be stronger than the positive effects of a parent's love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that caught my attention when I heard that.
Yeah, and I ain't mean to interrupt. It's a lot.
Hey, go ahead, go ahead.
I want to go to Proverbs. I mean, not Proverbs. Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 6. Yeah, let me put it on the screen right quick. Just to go with exactly what you're saying about how a negative word or phrase or something will have a long and lasting impact on a child versus you speaking positive into them, even though we're supposed to. But I talk about this quite a bit, not necessarily in the classes, but me what is going? What I say, the influence of this world is constantly being pressed on our children, even on the adults, on a day in and day out basis. And what I mean by that is, every time they wake up to the point when they leave in the house, they're being influenced by the ways of this world. You know what I'm saying? From picking up the phone to where they turn on the TV and see when they get on the bus, when they get to the school, from what the teacher is teaching, their child is being influenced. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that kids ain't got no filter, no chill or whatnot. So a child will say something at school to possibly embarrass or belittle that child, and that child will take that and it'll stick in their mind, even though the parent might be building them up every day, telling them, hey, you're great, you're beautiful. But because that child was in a public setting and said something that embarrassed them in front of everybody, that sticks more than the parent telling them how great they are, because it was in a more profound area or situation. But let me bring this out right quick. This is how we actually counteract that. And that's the way the Lord set it up. This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 1. It says, now therefore, Israel, hearken, O Israel, to the judgment which I teach you, for to do them that you may live and go and possess the land that the Lord your God have given your fathers. All right. Jumping down. This ain't what I want. 6 and 7. I did this before, man. Deuteronomy 6 and 7. So Moses was teaching us the commandments, all right? But this is the commandment given to the parents. Verse 7, Deuteronomy 6 and 7. And thou shalt teach them, meaning the kids, teach them, the commandments diligently unto thy children, and shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Constantly talking to the child from the time that they wake up to the time that they lay down. Guess what? When we do these things, it's going to build the child up so that when they hear something negative out in the world, it don't amount to the amount of teaching and edifying that we've been speaking about in the household by being around that child. So if somebody say something, hey, call them out their name, we've been teaching them every day. They know they're Israelite. They know that they royalty. Hey, somebody called them out the name, it doesn't have that same effect that it normally would when we don't teach. And this is what the Lord actually put in place for us to counteract or to combat the wickedness of this world. We constantly teaching about the good things of the Lord and the wickedness of this world. So when the child sees these things, it automatically flips that switch in their mind to let them know what's right and what's wrong, and who to follow and who not to, if we teaching them diligently. But when we don't do these things, we kind of leave that door open for the ways of this world to come in to their house, into their mind, and influence them and change the way that they think and carry themselves. And that goes right into what the brother was saying about how the words will impact and stay with the child longer than you just telling them how great they are, that everything's going to be all right, that you're special. When you do that sparingly and they hearing negative on a constant, it don't add up. It's not a balance in that. So we have to consider those things as well. But it's on you, King.
That's right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, brother. So now we gonna I'm gonna read where it says 11 common sins of the tongue. 11 common sins of the tongue. Okay, so number one is the lying tongue, speaking falsehoods with the intention of misleading others. That would just happen with Nahab, Nahab and Jezebel and what was his name? King Ahab, the lying tongue. Let's get okay. Let's get Proverbs chapter 11, verse 22.
Proverb 11:22.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Lying tongue, speaking falsehoods with the intention of misleading others. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 22.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 22. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that scripture. I didn't want that one. I wonder how I got this. I didn't mean to get that one. But like I said, a lying tongue speaking falsehoods will intention of misleading others. Sorry about that, bro. I didn't want that script. But we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna go to the next one. Number 2, the backbiting tongue. Talking about others behind their backs, injuring their reputation through distraction. Talking about others behind their backs, injuring their reputation through distraction. I know plenty of us know people who have done this to other people. Talking behind their backs, injuring their reputation through distraction. I think when it said injuring their reputation, I think in the court system, what they call their brother in the court system, uh,
Perjury? No.
not defamation.
Yeah. Defamation, slander.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get Ecclesiasticus chapter 5, verse 13 through 14.
All right. This is the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 5, verse 13. Honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of man is his fall.
Read.
Be not called a whisperer, and lie not in wait with thy tongue. For a foul shame is upon the thief, and an evil condemnation upon the double tongue.
See that? Evil condemnation upon the double tongue. So we have to be careful of that. Okay, and I'm gonna go to the third one. It says the indiscreet tongue, spreading confidential, unnecessary, or hateful information about others. Spreading confidential. That's when somebody confidential or hurtful information about others. Somebody come tell you something, it supposed to be between you and that person, and you go around telling everybody else something that's just supposed to be between you and that person. It's supposed to be confidential. That's the indiscreet tongue. And we have the flattering tongue, exaggerating the good qualities of others to gravitate ourselves to bring yourself to bring yourself into someone's favor by flattery. As that, I'm read that again. Exaggerating the good qualities of others in order to gain favor from them. That's the flattering tongue. I worked at Milo when I was younger, and we had a girl worked there. She used to flatter our manager so much all the time, trying to get that manager position. Just flatter it all the time till we didn't like her because she just did it so much. You know what we call it? We call it kissing. You know what? And we'll go to the
Right.
next one. The overused tongue. The overused tongue. Saying too much, which usually ushers in sins by its excess. Saying too much, which usually ushers in sin by its excess. Then we have another one, the rash tongue, speaking without having all the information. You gotta be careful of that one. The rash tongue, speaking without having all of the information. Then, okay, the proud tongue. Be careful of that one too. Speaking boastfully or in a overly certain way. Let's get Proverbs chapter 12 and 23. 12 verse 23. Proverbs 12 verse 23.
All right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 23. A prudent man concealeth knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaimeth foolishness.
That a prudent man concealeth knowledge, but the heart of a fool proclaimeth foolishness. You know, so that's what we have to do. We have to conceal knowledge.
That's right.
Right. And we have, okay, the quarrelsome tongue. The quarrelsome tongue. Speaking in an overly opinionated way, attacking others personally and or provoking unnecessary division. Speaking in an overly opinionated way, attacking others personally and or provoking unnecessary division. Let's get Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 6. Proverbs 18 and 6.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 6. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes.
Right. That word contention means disagreement or conflict of, of people or groups. And then that word stroke it says hostile attack. So it says a fool's lip enter into contention and his mouth called it for trouble. Sometimes your mouth will get you into trouble when somebody want to whoop you. Hostile attack. Then we have the cursing tongue. It says wishing harm upon others, often that they be damned. Cursing tongue, wishing harm upon others, often that they be damned. Then we have the piercing tongue, speaking unnecessarily, harshly, or severely upon someone. Speaking unnecessarily, harshly, or severely. Then we have the silent tongue, failing to speak when we should warn people of their sins. Then people just do what they want to do and not correcting them. That's the silent tongue.
And that's going against the commandments when you think about it.
Right.
You know,
Supposed to warn.
The Lord tell us to rebuke thy neighbor, not suffer sin upon him. You know. But as the brother said, a lot of us will just turn the blind eye and keep it moving, keep pushing.
Right. Let's get Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 10. It's going to that turning of going to silent tongue, turning the blind eye.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 56, verse 10. His watchmen are blind, they are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark sleeping, lying down, loving the slumber.
It is right here. God is denouncing the blind watchman, and this is what we should be doing. In go get 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 2. I mean 2 Timothy. I don't know if I said it first or second, but 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 2.
2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine.
And that's what we supposed to be doing. We see our people out of line, we rebuke them and exhort with long suffering and doctrine, with all long suffering and doctrine. Even if they want to hear it or not, we got to bring it out.
Right.
And a lot of times they not gonna want to hear what you're saying, but you still got to do what is commanded of you from the Most High. You have to do that.
Right, right.
Right. So I'm gonna bring out this last script. We're gonna go to the book of Psalms, chapter 119, and we're gonna read 171 and 172. Verse 171 and 172.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 171. My
Read.
lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. My
Right.
tongue shall speak. Go ahead.
It says, my lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. And that's what we supposed to be doing. We learn these statutes. Uh, you know, we bring these statutes out, teach these statutes to our people who might not know these statutes. It says shall utter praise. Read 72, 172.
My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness.
See that? My tongue shall speak of thy word, the word of the Lord. For all thy commandments are righteousness. So that's what's supposed to be coming out of our mouth. That's what we're supposed to be using our lips, our tongue, in a positive way, not in negativity, not bringing people down, speaking bad amongst our people. Like I said earlier, the tongue is very powerful, and it can bring people down and it can lift people up. We're in the business of lifting people up. We don't want to tell nobody down. We already down far enough. It's time to lift each other up. We so far down, we can't go no farther down. Gotta lift each other up. Speak good
That's right.
things. You got something you want to bring out, brother?
Yeah. Let me go to Numbers right quick.
Yes, sir. I read what.
Go to Numbers chapter 13. This will be going into an account of how when we speak certain things, you can either speak life, you can either speak death. You know what I'm saying? But in this situation or in this testimony, this story that we're gonna read about in Numbers, gonna show you how the impact of those who lead, how the words that they speak actually impact more than what they would think. I put it that way. Let's start at the book of Numbers. We're gonna read chapter 13 and read 1 through 3 right quick,
Yes, sir.
just to give some context.
Okay. The book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 1. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, send thou men that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall you send a man, every one a ruler among them.
Everyone what?
Every one a ruler among them.
So these men that Moses is going to send out, they are rulers among the people. Read on.
Verse 3. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel.
So these men that were sent out to go check out the land were leaders. They were the heads of the tribes. All right. Jump down to verse 27.
Yes, sir. Verse 27. And they told him, we came into the land where thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it.
So they telling them about, this land that they sent them out to go spy, to go check it out before the people moved into it. What's in this land, who's living there and whatnot. Read on.
Verse 28. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there.
So they're saying, hey, this place is filled with the milk and honey that we heard about. Also, we got cities there that are walled up and very great, and the children of Anak are there. Read.
Verse 29. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan.
Read the 32.
Okay, verse 30. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it.
So Caleb, he was like, hey, it sounds good. Let's go take over this land right now. We are many. Hey, we are able to overcome it. But let's see what these men that Moses sent out there, let's see what they said. Read.
Verse 31. But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
You see
Verse
that? So these are the leaders of the people, of the tribes. Caleb, a mighty brother, a brother of the Lord, who was right there with Joshua, right-hand man, he was like, hey, let's go take this land over. We are mighty. We can do this. But the leaders of the tribe, they said, nah, we ain't able to go up against them, for they stronger than we are. Read on.
Verse 32. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched upon the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature.
You see that? They talking about how great the people are, how great the land is, but you putting your own people down saying you ain't able to conquer it. You know what I'm saying? That's how they were speaking. Read.
Verse 33. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come up the giants, and we were in our sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
So they making them to seem like they larger than trees, saying they like grasshopper to these men, trying to instill fear in the people. They ain't building them up. They instilling fear in these people. And the Lord tell us in Timothy, hey, I ain't give you a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound doctrine, of a sound mind, I mean. But these brothers, who was the leader of the people, was turning the people away. The Lord leading you to this land. Moses say, hey, this land already been given to us. Go up there and check it out. You come back talking about, hey, they stronger than us. We can't compete with them. They better than us. Let's see what the people said. Let's go to the next chapter, verse 1.
All right.
Chapter 14, verse 1.
Chapter 14, verse 1. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night.
They did what?
And the people wept that night.
We supposed to be celebrating. The Lord is with us. We out of captivity. We moving toward our promised land. And these brothers come back speaking wickedness, giving an evil report to the people. And the people heard that, they lifting up their voice and they crying. Read.
Verse 2. And the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, Would God that we had died in the land of would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we have died in this wilderness?
You see that? You see the mindset or how they changed the perspective of how our people were thinking. We were moving as a unit, as an army. Like the brother said at the beginning of the class, waking up, we was moving as an exceeding great army. You know what I'm saying? We done left out of captivity. Now we moving toward our homeland where we gonna be dwelling at. We right there knocking on the door, getting ready to take it over. But the brothers, the head, the leaders who was sent out to spy the land, come back with an evil report, and they changed the mindset of the people with the words that they spoke. They belittled us as a people and built up the enemy, made them seem to be impossible to overcome. And the people wept because of the things that they spoke. So they held their words in high regard, but they turned the mindset of the people against the ones who was actually leading them the right way, Moses and Aaron. So the people started backbiting and murmuring against Moses and Aaron, saying, I wish to God we had died in the land of Egypt. What kind of mindset is that? The Lord, you just crying to the Lord for him to come save you, to get Pharaoh off your neck so they stop whipping your back, so you ain't got to punch the clock, basically. Soon as the Lord save you and start leading you the right way, teaching you, building you up, giving you words of encouragement, they turn around and hearken to the negative, like the brother was bringing out earlier. It was easy for them to take something negative and roll with it and start backbiting and murmuring against Moses and Aaron, who was trying to lead them the right way. Just like when a parent trying to teach the right things to the child, it's easy for the wickedness of this world to come in and change the dynamic, change the way that they think.
Influence.
You see that? And they saying, I wish to God we would have died in Egypt, or I wish God we would have died in the wilderness. That's the mindset that they had after just hearing some words. They ain't even been up there to see it. They ain't been through nothing. And on top of that, the Lord brought you out of Egypt. All the things that you've seen, all the things that happened in the wilderness. And as soon as somebody just spoke some words to you, your whole mindset changed. From being strong to being made weak, faint.
All the way down.
That's why we have to be alert as brothers and sisters in this truth. We can't let words, not words, we can't let certain things affect us. Knowing who we are and what's the end game. Knowing that we playing with a fixed hand. You know what I'm saying? We already destined to win. All we got to do is play our role. Because somebody come and say this or say that, that should not have you spooked or paranoid or turning against the Lord. Just like another example was when Job went through what he went through. Now it was Satan, but he hopped on his wife, and his wife was like, "Hey, you still got your integrity? Go on, curse the Lord and die." And he said, "Hey, foolish woman, we got to take the good with the bad." He was already mentally prepared. You got to take the good with the bad. But a lot of times we'll have just a little setback and we ready to quit and give up. Turn our back on the Lord and say, he ain't walking with me now. But he actually say, I'm going to put you through something. I'm going to put you through that fire to see if you actually been paying attention, if you actually been in class like you supposed to, learning from me while he was teaching us. So we learn from this story, that small example right there, that words do affect people. You can either build them up or you can tear them down. So choose your words wisely, you know. Choose your words wisely. Like the brother brought out, speak to edify. Don't just speak to be talking or to be heard. Speak with a purpose. Don't speak to cut somebody down. speak with a purpose and speak words that's going to multiply. Let me get one more precept before we close out. Let me get Sirach chapter 6, verse 5. Sirach chapter, or Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 5.
I got it. Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 5. Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greeting.
So when you speak with a positive mentality, sweet language, hey, you're going to multiply your friends. And a fair speaking tongue, meaning a beautiful speaking tongue, a positive, a uplifting, a motivating tongue, will increase kind greetings. That's all the power of the tongue right there. I mean, the scriptures got so many scriptures or precepts about how you supposed to speak is unreal. So seek these things out of the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? If you wonder why things ain't going your way, why you're not increasing in your friends, or why you always get negative responses, or why it always seems like the world is against you, hey, you need to check how you speak sometime. You know, sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greeting. People, when you got that type of mentality or personality, people will love to be around you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to hear what you got to say because you uplifting and motivating, and you making them think. You making them push forward rather than to give in. You encouraging them to do better than they already are trying to do right now. You encouraging them to do better than they even thought possible. So they will listen. They will adhere to what you got to say. But
Hey,
that's all I got to add, though, King.
Hey, brother, that's just like, for example, in a football game, a running back get that ball and fumble, and the other team get the ball. When he go to the sideline 9 times out of 10, they gonna come pat him on the back and say something encouraging. We'll get down the field next possession. They don't get all in that man's face, cursing him out and making him feel worse than what he already feel. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that. And I thank you for that, what you just brought out too, brother.
All praise to the Most High.
Yes, sir. But like I said, class going into the power of the tongue. Think before you speak, and remember to always use your tongue to uplift your brother, not to tear them down. Like I said,
That's right.
teach somebody something with what comes out of your mouth, something positive. We already got enough negative stuff, so remember to always try to have something positive coming out to give your brother or sister wisdom.
That's right. So once again, we appreciate you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. As always, you know, we do this, and we don't do this for ourselves. We learn for those who seek learning. You know what I'm saying? And this is another form of congregating as well. So we appreciate you, brothers and sisters, tuning in and week out, coming to get this knowledge, because you could be sitting around just wasting your time, but you actually tuned in, learning how to make yourself better, make the people around you better. So all praise to the Most High for that. Remember to pray for your nation week in and week out, day in and day out. Every chance you get an opportunity, pray for your brothers and sisters. Pray for them to be uplifted in the spirit, to learn more, to go harder in the paint. You know, pray for the destruction of this wicked kingdom, for the restoration of your nation. You know, it's written all in the scriptures what we just spoke about. This ain't nothing that we came up with. You know, everything we speak about comes straight out of the scriptures. You know, and as it says in 1 Peter, hey, speak the oracles of God. These are the things that we're going to speak on. So I'm Brother Ananias.
And I'm Brother Ezekiel.
We are A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. And we want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being the Son. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. And on that note, we close out and we say shalom, shalom, peace and greetings to you all. We love you. We'll see you next week, Lord willing.
Mm.